guys, it's Will of Vinyl Appreciation Society. This is First Listen. Today we're going to be talking about a band called Wormwood. The album is Nattarvet. I have my phone out because this is a Swedish band and we've got some Swedish language song titles. I don't speak any Scandinavian languages, so from what I understand, Norwegian, Danish, and Swedish are mutually intelligible. I don't speak any of those languages. Probably not going to pronounce this correctly. I'll apologize for that in advance. So, Wormwood is the name of the band. Nattarvet is the name of the record. This was released on July 26th of 2019, and it is on Black Lodge Records. If you're watching on YouTube, if you could subscribe to us, give us a like, give us a comment, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much. If you are on Instagram TV and you could feel like moseying on over to our profile, following us, giving us a like, giving us a comment, that would also be much appreciated. The more you like these videos or comment on them, or I guess give us the thumbs down if you feel like it, the more we know what people are watching, what they want to watch, and we can kind of steer the channel in that direction. So if you were here for a quick hit and you just want to know what this record is it any good, and then you want to be on your way, this is a really interesting album because it is like legit Scandinavian black metal. These guys have long hair, they wear corpse paint, they wear like big ass robes and shit like that, like they play blast beats, they have super arpeggiated guitar lines, but they also incorporate enough kind of like things that you wouldn't expect to hear in traditional straight up Scandinavian black metal that you hear more in bands like Deafheaven that are taking from black metal, but maybe are not like straight black metal bands. You hear like influence from post-rock, post-metal, even like rock and roll. And this band did start as a black and roll band. And I'll get into that when I talk more about the record. But so if you're someone who likes straight up black metal, like straight ahead blast beats, crazy Scandinavian stuff, corpse paint and long hair, I think you will like this. But if you also like kind of experimental black metal, you might also dig this, and that's what makes it such an interesting record. So, as I said, Wormwood started as a black and roll band. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically exactly what it sounds like, right? It's like black metal meets rock and roll. To give some kind of like reference point for this, Entombed put out a record in, I think, 1993 called Wolverine Blues. It's one of my all-time favorite death metal records, and that is a death and roll record, right? So like death metal meets rock and roll. That's a very well-known album, so if you know the sound of that album, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about there. If you don't, you should go listen to that record. It's a phenomenal album for any fan of heavy music, not just like death metal, extreme metal. So this record, it incorporates this kind of rock and roll element to it that honestly really surprised me. So when I say that I hear influences in here that you don't really expect to hear in traditional black metal, you hear the kind of stuff that you'll hear in Envy, which is like, I'm saying Envy, I meant Deafheaven, but it's funny because when I first heard Deafheaven and everyone was going crazy for them, I was like, isn't this basically what Envy did like 15 years ago? If you're unfamiliar with Envy, stop what you're doing now and go listen to them immediately. They're like a Japanese band that plays like this epic hardcore that marries post-rock and almost like screamo, and they write these huge epic songs that are very melodic, epic, and heavy, but are definitely rooted in hardcore. And they've like toured with Converge and stuff like that to give you some sound of kind of the scene that they're from. So if you listen to Deafheaven, if you've listened to Envy, you know that there's stuff like shoegaze in there, there's stuff like post-rock, there's stuff like post-metal. But what this brings into it, which is really unexpected, is almost like there's stuff that sounds like Baroness in this record, with like clean, kind of like throaty singing. There's stuff that reminds me of Slash from Guns N' Roses, lead guitar work. Like there's like legit shredding on this record, and not like black metal shredding, like kind of more like blues informed metal shredding, like Slash style shredding. And it's over like these crust punk riffs. So we all know that black metal is informed by punk, right? The aesthetic of it, the rawness of it, the simplicity of it, and the aggression of it, right? And I very rarely hear black metal records. I mean, Darkthrone is an obvious exception to this rule, but I very rarely hear black metal records where I'm like, that sounds like punk. There are several passages on this record that really straight up sound like punk, but they have the black metal singing on them and kind of more metal style drums. And there's like shredding over these punk riffs, and it really kind of reminds me of Slash. And I don't say that in a bad way. Like I think some people listen to extreme metal would derisively refer to Guns N' Roses, but the Use Your Illusion 1 was actually the first album I ever bought with my own money when I was 8 years old. And I love Guns N' Roses, and they were like the band that really got me into a lot of the music that I listened to, because they were the first band that I went out and discovered on my own. That wasn't stuff that my parents had kind of like passed on to me. And And these influences are just kind of like they come up out of nowhere and they're unexpected, but they're seamlessly interwoven. So the songwriting here is extremely strong. And the way that they're able to, like, if you were to tell me that there's a band that plays like legit corpse paint, long hair, black metal that has guitar solos that sound like Slash over crust punk riffs, I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind. That doesn't work. That makes no sense. And it also sounds like Envy. But all of those things are true. And this is like a really surprising, really great record. I've been listening to it for a couple weeks now. I got a promo copy of this at the beginning of July. The record is out now. I was really hoping to get this video out before the album came out, but unfortunately I had my injury. If you've seen our other videos, you know that I broke my wrist. I got a metal plate. I was cut open. They screwed a metal plate into my bones. I finally have my cast off. I'm doing my physical therapy. It's been very hard for us to do videos. So we're finally getting this out. I've been trying to do it for a while, but I really like this album, and this is a record that... like we do these often based on digital copies of albums like it is promos, but this is a record I might definitely go out and buy on vinyl because I really like it and I've been listening to it a lot. So this is heavily recommended. The band is Wormwood. We will put links in the description of this video to where you can listen to this album, stream it, buy it. I also want to tell you there are 2 tracks in particular I recommend that we will include links to if you want to just get a sample of the record. The first one is the 3rd track on the album. It's called Arctic Light, so that's an English language title. That's nice for me. It's easy to pronounce. And the second one is the 5th track on the record, and it's called Sunas Hadanfad. Hadanfad? There you go. I don't know. Like I said, I don't speak any Swedish. I'm sorry. I probably sound like a fool if you do speak Swedish. But really, truly, check this album out. If you like all the genres of music that I've described, it's totally awesome. So my name is Will. This has been First Listen. Hopefully we'll have more of these episodes coming very soon. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.